Hi, and welcome to Chris Maloney's Field Hockey Lab. Today, I'm going to be evaluating a smartwatch app called MatchGear. It's used by umpires when they're umpiring games. 2 years ago, I evaluated an early version of this. At that time, it was called Sticky. If you saw that video, you might remember that I used this prop to help steady the watch on my hand so that it stays in focus and gives a much better display of the features. We'll be doing that again. This year, I'm also going to be adding water. Why? Because people have said, well, but how do you use that when it's raining outside? Well, I think you're going to see that it's very possible. All right, let's get started. I'm going to hold on to this bar so that the watch is in a good position for you to see the features of MatchGear. I'm going to go to the application menu. On an Apple Watch, the application menu looks like this, and I click on the whistle icon. Once I'm in MatchGear, it assumes, and that's why it's listed first, that I want to start a new match. But the first time I use it, I probably want to go into settings. Sorry, I've clicked on the version there. So I want to go into settings, and I scroll down until I find the hockey settings, and here they are. And this is where I set things like whether or not there's a penalty corner countdown or the time for indoor cards, that sort of thing. Okay, so let's assume that I want to start a new match. I click start a new match, and then it asks me, well, do I want to start a field hockey match, an indoor match, soccer match, etc. So I'm going to do a field hockey match. And by default, it says it's 15-minute periods, but of course, maybe I change that in settings, but I can change it right here. So for example, if I'm at a tournament where there's a central clock, we don't have 15-minute quarters. We just have one period in the game where it might be 25 minutes. And we'll just go there. But I'll just slide it down and say 15-minute period for quarters. And then, well, what's the short break? In other words, the time between the quarters, 2 minutes. And a halftime break, I had set this before when I was experimenting. In high schools in America, the halftime break is between 7 and 10 minutes based on agreement. And I'll just come down here to the international expectations, which is a 5-minute halftime. If I slide this screen to the right, then I can go to the score screen. So if a team scores, whatnot, that would be done here. And I'll show you that later. But right now you see this little ball. It's underneath the team on the left. And let's say I want it to be on the team on the right. I just hold the screen down a little bit and I click set team indicator and see how the ball shifted that way. Now what's that ball mean? Well, that would tell you, for example, after the coin toss, which team has selected possession. Now, let's also do another setup here. It's not the yellow team. It's not the yellow team I have to hold down. I'm going to change the color. It's the red team. And they're not playing the white team. I'll hold it down, change the color. They're playing the yellow team. So now I've got red versus yellow. And I go back, and now we're ready to go. So everything looks ready. Myself or my partner blows a whistle, and we start the clock by just holding it down. Now what you can't see is that there was a little vibration on the watch as things got started there. I could just feel it on my wrist. I wouldn't expect to be able to feel that very often in a game, but it is good. Now, obviously I put my hand down, I pick it up, and it brings up the display again. Let's say something happens. Maybe I have to give a card to somebody. So I hit pause, and now I can slide over here to the left, and I hit plus to add something. And you see, by the way, that the colors have carried through here, if you recall. Well, this is the home team that's getting the card, so I'm going to click on that button, and I'm going to click on this icon of a person up here and say that it's number 13, and they got a green card. And you can see on this display that it says the home team got a green card. It's number 13. It was during the first minute, and they've got a 2-minute suspension. Now that, of course, is typical of a green card, but it is also something I would have set up in settings if it were different. And now I slide to the right, and I go back to this screen, and we're all ready to go. And I hold down the screen, my finger on the screen, and now the clock is running. Now, what's interesting here is, let's just let it run a little bit, is that if I slide back to this screen, then I can see the time that's remaining on the penalty card, the countdown time. If you are in a region where you don't start the countdown timer until the guy is sitting down in the penalty chair, well, then don't start the clock until such a time that he's sitting there. Other regions, as soon as the guy is given his card, we start the clock and his suspension time is started because we started the clock, we started play. So that's the amount of time that they're missing from the game. All right, things are going on where, it's 13 minutes and 47. Oh my goodness, there was a goal. I click stop, I come back over here, and it was the red team that scored the goal. I just click there. I click on the person icon. I say it was number 65 that scored. I say okay. I hit plus, and now it is 1-0. We go back. Whoops. Oh, I'm sorry. I could also indicate what type of goal it is, whether it was a penalty corner, penalty stroke, or just a field goal. All right. So let's go back over here and start things up again. Time goes on. Give a little bit. Oh my goodness, somebody else got a card. By the way, I'm stopping for cards. That's something in settings. You don't have to stop time for a card depending on your region. 99.999% of umpires will stop the clock in order to award a card. So we're going to give this card to the away team. It was very bad, a physical foul, and that was number 87, and they got a 10-minute yellow card. Okay, so now you see it and you see the sequence, right? This guy got it first, this guy got it second, and we see that there's 1 minute and 5 seconds left on this guy's. We stop the clock, and so things are going to now continue that countdown as I start the clock. One thing that happens, by the way, is, and we'll see this as I go through this, is that when the time on the card has expired, that will come up on the screen to tell you. So let's say another goal was scored. We go over here, we slide back. This time the yellow team scored. Oops, I just need to click it. I don't want to hold down. I say that it happened on a penalty corner. I hit the number. It was number 56. I say okay, hit the add button, and now it's 1-1. Oh my goodness, I made a terrible mistake. It wasn't the yellow team that scored. It was the red team that scored. So no deal. Go back there. Now it's 0-0. Go to the red team. Hit the guy over here. I made up a number before. I'll say it was 78. I don't know. And I hit the plus sign, and there we go. I obviously, as you saw, I could have indicated that it was on a penalty corner and whatnot. I go back here and I start the clock again. If I slide over, we can see that this guy's still got 45 seconds. I don't know if the presentation is going to last that long. Actually, I know what I can do right now. Some people complain, oh, but what if it gets wet? Well, just a second. Let me go get the water. So I'm over here and I'm filling up a paper towel with water and just slapping that on the screen. And I will say this, like if it's raining really hard, I don't know if you can see the water that's dropping out of here. If it's raining really, really super hard, you might not be playing. But let's just go back to it and let's see how responsive it is. Let's say I stop the clock, go back, look at the cards. I got 11 seconds left on this thing. Very nice. I go over here or whatever. I'm going to hold this and we get going again. Okay, it was raining and they put a lot of water on the clock. It's still responsive. I'm just giving this another few seconds so you can see the interruption that comes up indicating that the card is done. So the green card to number 13 from the home team may return to the pitch. Okay? And so when you've looked at that, you can blow your whistle, bring them in, or maybe the table will do it depending on what's going on. And then time continues. I would like to point out I was very good in the announcing at the NCAA tournament where somebody got a card, and let's say they went out at 12:10. Oh, stop the clock. Oh, I have to use that. So let's say they went out at 12:10. The announcer announced that, number 13 will return to the game. Well, maybe they didn't say it. The suspension time will end at 10:07. So they knew what the colors meant, and then they just flat out announced it. So that was very good. All right. And so now let's go into another area. Sorry, I didn't show you how I did that. No, I don't want to do that. Clock is running. Let's just pretend the period is ended. I'm going to stop the clock and I hit this again. And I'm going to say, okay, let's skip this period. We're finished. And it confirms you want to skip to the next period. I say yes. And now we have, this count up is just saying how long the clock is out. That happens because of penalty corners. I'll show you that in a second. And now we hold down. We've got 2 minutes going for the first break. And you can see it says first break right up there. Let's pretend that time has passed. I click on this. I click on that and I click again, and I'm going to skip this period. And yes, I want to skip the period. And the period is about to begin. I push the button, blow the whistle, etc. And now the clock has continued. Hey, what's the situation with the cards? Well, this guy's already back in and there's another 8 minutes and 15 seconds left. Hey, you know what? Let's pretend that it was halftime and somebody says, hey, how much time is left on my player's card? Well, you just slide over here and you say 8 minutes and 11 seconds, coach. Okay? So that's a very nice feature. Now, there's 14 minutes and 20 seconds to go. I stop the clock because we have a penalty corner. You'll see down here that there's a count up timer going. So if you are playing in a region that stops the clock for penalty corners and you restart play at 40 seconds, well, you're going to see that there. Again, it's counting up. Let's pretend it's got to 40 seconds. I blow the whistle, I hold my finger down, and play is restarted. Okay, so let's stop things and pretend that the game has ended. Oh, sorry, I've done that wrong a couple times. By the way, when you get the app on your watch, and it costs less than $5, it's tremendous. I would set the clock timer for 2 minutes and 1 minute between the breaks, all the breaks, and just practice this stuff. It'll help you get started. All right, so we're going to skip the period now. We're not going to restart the period. We're going to start a shootout. Oh, let's see that. We can start a shootout. Do you want to continue to shootouts? Yes, I do. How long is each shootout? Internationally, and I mean that around the globe, it's 8 seconds. But I have seen things where youth games, they might want to do a shootout and they give the kid more time. Maybe they give them 12 seconds, whatever. But you can just slide this up and down. I hope I'm not blocking that from your view. And we'll just leave it at 8 seconds. And then we get ready to go. We hit the next arrow and then we hold down because the guy started, the whistle blew and the guy started, and we're counting down to 8 seconds and counting up down here. Okay, timer is finished. Hit that and we're ready to begin the next one. We'll do the next one and there we go again. And of course, and I didn't, I would have indicated the score. So let's think whether or not they scored. So let's say that's finished. I go back over here, okay? And the score is 0-0 in the shootout. If you remember, it was 1 or 2-0 before. The red team, let's say they scored on that one, and let's say it was number 61. And there we go, and we continue. We could just go back here, start the timer again. The next guy's going. 8 seconds will run off. I should have set it for 2 seconds. Anyway, for demonstration purposes. We go here, this guy scored. We go back over here, click on the number, click here. It was number 25, hit OK. The other thing I've heard is people said about some applications like this is, well, it takes too long to push. Not after you practice, gang. Not after you practice. Okay, well, how are we going to pretend it's over? I'm going to click up here again, and I'm going to say, that's the end of the game. Okay, and I says, do I really want to end the match? And I say, yes. It's a field hockey game that took place on December 1st, 2024. Here's the duration, 15 minutes and 47 seconds. The match score was 2-0, but we decided to do a shootout anyway. That was 1-2, and there were 6 in the shootouts. It's ridiculous, but that is tracked. And then the cards that were given to the teams and when, the goals that were scored and when, and then we have the option to remove this from memory or just hit close. Okay, so close, that means I can look at my saved matches. I did a couple of experiments prior to doing this demo. And that is MatchGear in a nutshell. Let's see, I showed you with the water, still works with water, so if it's raining on the day, you can still have a match. Oh, I didn't show you the indoor hockey. Comes up with whatever the settings are that you had set before, and then, things start. What matters here is this gives me an example to just show you that I can card without stopping the clock. So again, This happens a lot in tournaments where there's just a central clock. You might, as an umpire, blow the whistle, indicate timeout, but the clock is running anyway. Anyway, we just go over here and we do the same thing. The home team, the away team, what the number was, number 11, okay. They got a green card. And look, now it says 1 minute and it's already started to count down. Why 1 minute? Well, because indoor green is 1 minute, outdoors 2 minutes. Again, those things are all things you can change in settings if for some reason you're in a region that has different amount of times for the cards or different types of tournaments that happen. Setting, and we're inside an indoor game. Go here and we're just going to say we're going to end this match. Do I really want to end the match? And now it says it's an indoor hockey game on December 1st. 1 green card. And go down here and I'll close it. And then I want to look at my saved matches. And then I can see these, that has been added to the saved matches. I go into this one by clicking it and I see the review. Okay. I close it. So I want to go to save matches. I'll go to the second one this time. Field hockey, not indoor hockey. And I go down and slide down and I close it. And there we go. I think that covers all the bases. I hope that presentation was helpful to you in evaluating whether or not you'd like to use MatchGear for your games. If you have any questions about MatchGear, it might be best to go to matchgear.app, that's .app, and look at the FAQs that are there and the other details. For example, well, what Apple Watch operating system do I need in order to run MatchGear? Or if I have an Android-based smartphone, what operating system do I need on that platform to run MatchGear? Hey, if you've got a product that you'd like me to evaluate, let me rephrase that. If you've got a field hockey product that you'd like me to evaluate, please go to fieldhockeytalk.com and fill out the contact form. Thanks a lot and take care.